I'm sure it's going to be every bit a great game of rugby league, Peter, as Mal Meninga gets a rousing reception from the big crowd. It's a special night for him. 400 first-class games of rugby league. And there's the Canberra lineup with, of course, Ricky Stewart out of the side. A big night for young Stone, but there he is in the number 3 shirt, Mal Meninga, the cynosure of all eyes tonight. And Stone, Steve Stone, he captained South to a 21s victory a few years ago prior to making the transition to the Canberra club. A back rower in the main, he has been at hooker. And simply the best, the Raiders. Will that be the case in 1993? A disappointing preceding year. They're not used to that. They're hoping for something very special this year. Now Michael Potter leads the Dragons out. Opening game of the 1993 Winfield Cup. Grand finalists last year. They've done their apprenticeship and their aspirations are high for this year. If that young man Andrew Walker turns it on like he has in some of the early season games, he could create havoc for the Raiders tonight. Greg McCallum's the man in charge of this game tonight. He's got the first honour, blowing the whistle on the opening of the Winfield Cup for 1993. Two tremendous combatants, St George. They haven't beaten Canberra since 1985, and they did that year by something like 50 points to 12 over at Seaford Oval. They've played a draw since, but nothing any better has happened for them since. Noel Goldthorpe brings it away on tackle number 3. And now Barnhill. Dummy half is Collins. He's the only major change in the St George side tonight. Young Nathan Brown has been handling the job very well in number 9 as Goldthorpe puts in the raking kick on the end of the first set of tackles, and Belcher is picked up and cannoned into the ground. Now Meninga. 38 test matches for the big fellow, 250 test points, 14 appearances against Great Britain. Magnificent record for the 33-year-old.
And we saw some of his involvement in that final last week. Played very well as he did in the game before that, coming for the football, trying to take some pressure off when needed. And he'll need to lead the way again tonight. St George, tough opposition out there this evening. A high tackle there from Walker.
McCallum rushing in, players going over the top. Fairly heated.
It's David Furner who was involved in the, he went to kick the ball and he was taken very high by a St George player. McCallum talking now to his touch judges, but Furner goes to kick it and Walker came in and flew at him. It was a high tackle.
Canberra will get the penalty. Much lighter events that have brought penalties that we've been a little bit critical of in the Tooheys Challenge.
The players under a lot of pressure out there this evening, Ray. This first game, it's imperative in this Winfield Cup year to get away to a good start. If you drop a couple of games early, you could be really out of contention early on. And a player like Andrew Walker, he's looking to cement a spot in the top side. And just a little bit over-enthusiastic in the chase there.
Lomax really threw himself into his work. He left the ground and hurdled at the defence, and here's his New Zealand colleague Pongia playing the ball. Walters away for Stone, quick ball, Daly, short pass Meninga, and now 4 Dragons come in to make the tackle. Just into Canberra's area. To the right for Daly. Daly with the ball in his hands a few times already. Potter tried to be a little bit too fancy. Maybe he was the victim of circumstances, but Canberra will accept the advantage given to them.
I don't know about the victim of circumstance. He really didn't need to play at the football, or probably should have gone with maybe the foot. Very tough attempt to take on the full there. Wasn't a Canberra player within 30 metres of him.
A very uncharacteristic mistake by him.
Daly letting a decoy runner go, picking up Belcher, floating it out for young Mullins. Mullins had a super pre-season, scored a bag full of tries. He's put down 19 metres out.
Yeah, good covering tackle too by Walker.
Now Meninga folding into first receiver, cut down by Potter around the legs. 40 minutes before they get a break. And Canberra gets a penalty, and they get the first opportunity for points.
Great confidence amongst the Canberra players out there. A beautiful pass from Belcher to his winger Mullins. He had a little bit of work to do to catch it, but that's the kind of confidence they do have in each other. The next play earned a penalty. Mal Meninga held down in the tackle.
40-minute halves. I would think that would suit Canberra. They've played quite obviously more tough football at this early part of the year. They're at home in front of their crowd. Werner hit it lovely. Hit it beautiful. Flags up. First points of 1993 go to the Raiders. They lead the Dragons 2-0. St George restarting off the boot of Andrew Walker. Ball bouncing straight up for Brett Mullins. Steve Roach on the sidelines. We're broadcasting from a new vantage point here, very high at the back of the grandstand. Is there much breeze to speak of?
No, the breeze probably favours St George in the first half, but I can tell you there's plenty of sledging going on at the moment. Neil Tierney from St George, he's having a field day with Paul Osborne at the moment.
There's a bit of a mix and match going on out there, isn't there? Osborne, formerly Saints, now Canberra. Barnhill, formerly Canberra, now in the red and white shirt. Scrum packing about 7 or 8 metres on Canberra side of halfway. If you've just joined us, Canberra drew first blood. They got a 2-point penalty off the boot of David Werner, and after 5 minutes lead by 2 points to 0. As Goldthorpe finds Potter before the ball goes on to this giant of a centre, Bradley, formerly with the Penrith club. The task tonight of containing Mal Meninga. For St George to play well, it's important that this man with the ball plays well, Brad Mackay. And McCallum has found a high tackle here from Paul Osborne. He didn't spend much time giving him a reprimand, but he has given the penalty. Let's have a look at it. Mackay, yeah, bang, he got him with the top part of the left arm.
He was a little bit unfortunate, but Mackay put his head up just at the wrong moment. I don't think he was going in to hit him that high, just to wrap the ball up.
40 metres out. He's about 10 metres off centre. Blocker tells us that he's got a little breeze behind him. Walker hoping to equalise. It looks very good off the boot. Straight over the dot. And he's really got it on there. 2 points all. Beautiful night, though. Osborne plays it. A groan from the crowd. They saw something that the ref didn't. Walters is down. Back in the battle, though. He's okay, I think. Pongia. Away for Stone. Quickly for Daly. Now for Boyle. Boyle in those green cycle shorts. Had a big game in defence in the final of the Tooheys Challenge. Werner. Stone had to go to dummy half. There's a little scuffle up in back play. Now Lomax throws the pass. Meninga forced to pick it up. Coming away with it now is Stone. Stone wrapped up. Walker's gone again. I'd say Andrew Walker's gone again, and he may get the bin this time.
Stupid play from Walker. A very simple tackle. He was coming over the top to wrap the football up, and he looked like he swung one. And McCallum's not very happy with him. And the touch judge also came in there. Now he's tackled there, Walker, and just swings a stiff arm. Terrible football.
So.
And he's been sent off.
He sent him off.
Yep.
I was looking for 10 fingers for the mandatory sin bin, but of course foul play is not to be dealt with according to the rule book by the sin bin, and Walker has been sent off.
But all the same, I mean, I don't. It's not a send-offable. What am I trying to say?
You mean he shouldn't have been sent off?
He shouldn't have got sent off for that. Turn it up. It's just a punch. Yeah. And we can't condone violence in the game, but
I've got to agree. I don't think it was the kind of infringement, that should leave a team short for another, what, 60 minutes. Very silly play, and it should have cost his team, but probably not a man off the field.
Maybe the fact that it was his second infringement, McCallum viewed it very seriously.
Incredible amount of work now to be done by the Saints. Furnace kick. Left the boot okay, but he's pushed it. No goal. No change to the scoreline as Potter brings it back out now. 12 metres out from their own line. Good struggling run there by Brad Mackay.
A good run by Mackay. He's been heavily involved in their attack tonight. Nothing fancy from him, just some good straight hard running. He's made lots of inroads. With
a player short now, St George have to assess how they're going to play this game, especially in defence. A lot of teams would opt to play maybe the one marker. I don't think that's the way to go against Canberra. If anything, they've probably got to take a leaf out of the Canberra book and compress in defence even more and just try and nullify the fact that they are that one player short in the line.
Clearing kick off the boot of Noel Goldthorpe. Bouncing down on the 20-metre line. Belcher comes back, makes 20 metres.
Oh, he was looking for Mullins on the outside of him too, but Mullins had slipped back inside.
Sideline, Steve Roach.
Well, Canberra's still got to make the yards in the middle of the ruck. They might decide to throw the ball around, but they've still got to make them yards.
Furner. Plenty of men there willing in defence for St George, but that load has now been increased as they use the ball. Canberra, nobody uses it better. Hoppy is put down and put into touch. No change to this scoreline. After 21 minutes, it's 2-all. Scrum just on the St George side of halfway. 2 points all.
And that's going to be a little bit of a problem for them. You saw there that St George, well, he didn't get up to play that, Bradley. I thought it should have gone the other way, but Canberra been penalised. We saw that they only had 5 players pack into that scrum and nearly lost it through the weight exerted by the Canberra team. They really are going to have to pack very solid when they scrummage for the rest of this game. Make sure they don't lose one against the feed.
They are fortunate, they Saints. Oh, this ball hasn't gone out. That's another bad mistake. Things going against the Saints tonight.
Hoppy banged down by the St George defence. Osborne, lofted pass away for Daly, short for Meninga, Harbour Bridge pass for Mullins, he can't handle, picked up by Coyne. And Saints on their first tackle come up with the ball 28 metres out. Walford. Goldthorpe, now Gula. It's his first entry into the attack. In fact, they've been fairly quiet. This man's the other I'm referring to, Priddle.
That's the way that St George will be looking to use them. Firstly Goulet, then Priddle, work in unison. Try and punch some holes in the defence on the fringe of the ruck for Canberra. As the referee signals the last tackle, Bradley at dummy half, picks up Goldthorpe, he goes to the air.
Belcher underneath it, never took his eyes off it. He was over the dead ball line when he took it. So it's the same result. It goes back to the 22 for the restart. He seems okay. Osborne goes up and is met by Tierney on tackle number 1. Osborne. 2 points all. St George. Andrew Walker sent off after 17 minutes. Canberra makes another mistake. Saints get the ball 35 metres out from the Canberra line. Coyne. Play in the centre of the stadium. And the penalty goes to St George. This is right in front, 30 metres out. And they're not light on for goal kickers as we watch what brought the penalty.
It was Steve Wallace, the man penalised, too close to the man playing the ball. Referee signalled he got his hand in there.
Brad Mackay takes the kick from right in front. He hooks it around. No goal. I would have thought Ricky Walford would have taken the kick. You've got 2 legs out there, Rick Walford. I'm not saying Brad can't kick, but...
Oh, Ricky's a former leading point scorer in the Winfield Cup a couple of years ago. He seems to have lost confidence over the last year or so with his goal kicking, and other players have been preferred to him in that role.
I just wonder whether the ball has changed to an extent, the shape of it, and he is an orthodox kicker. He doesn't kick around the corner. I think that tends to be an easier way of kicking with these kind of footballs. Maybe that's why the confidence has gone out of that part of his game.
Here's Mackay keeping up his high rate of involvement. Tierney getting some steam up. That's the way to use Tierney. Get him back, let him hit it up, then try and get a quick play the ball out of him. Goldthorpe puts it into the end goal. Walford picks it up, and Walford scores! Oh, beautifully weighted kick by young Noel Goldthorpe. Bounced up beautifully for Ricky Walford.
That's great play by the Saints. They're under pressure, down to 12 men. And they've come up with the first try, the Winfield Cup. Goldthorpe, he saw Walford out wide. Walford called for that. And Goldthorpe put one through, and Walford had too much speed for Mullins. That's a great St George try.
Yeah, it's a great kick there from Noel Goldthorpe. He did look across to his winger. We'll see that Mullins was actually in behind the line, not out on his wing marking the man, and that allowed Walford to get outside him. Too much speed. He's always been a quick man in the game. 6-2 St George over Canberra.
10 metres in, 23 metres out. Can he enlarge the scoreline? No way. That's been pulled around far too far by Mackay, and the score.
That try was great communication. Ricky Walford put his hand up. If we freeze it there, you see that Brett Mullins has had to come from behind his own centre three-quarter. Ricky Walford, a free run to the line as play continues. That gave Walford the jump, but great communication. Goldthorpe looked across, Walford put the hand up, and that's a try.
I'm wondering why Brett Mullins found himself in there.
Well, I think that's the defence that they play, Ray. They had numbers there. They had 3-on-3, but they were very compressed, as we keep talking about, and Walford had no one in front of him. That's the way Canberra's defence is being played at the moment.
And you both have said, and Block has agreed, obviously, that if you're going to beat it, the easiest place to beat it is down inside their own 20 metres out. And, of course, on one of the early tackles.
Well, the reason for that, Ray, is that Canberra tend to look as though they're prepared to give away 15, 20 metres if the other opposition are prepared to throw the ball out wide. They'll forfeit that much ground, but eventually they'll come up with that sliding tackle and come up with the defence. They can't do that in their own territory. As Brad Mackay, the ball's just come straight out, 40 metres out from his own line. That's the mistake that the Raiders were looking for.
This was the mistake made by Brad Mackay. Opportunity there for the advantage to be applied for Canberra, but they too made the knock on, but they'll have the feed here.
St George very lucky, you know. The Walker has been sent off. That's unlucky, but they've got an international class player in Brad Mackay, who's played a lot of 5'8", filling in for him here, so they won't lose anything there.
Played by Croker. Pongia. Talking of New Zealanders, we're there next Friday night. Friday night football coming out of Carlisle Park. Sunday night we go to Newcastle. We'll have for you the edited highlights of the match between the Knights and the Roosters on Sunday night, 6:30 through 7:30. Lomax. And he has shed the ball. And here's a good run by Bradley. Well, full marks to him. He played the whistle. He's made a run of 60 metres. Right down the ground. 5 metres out from the line. Play by Bradley. Donnelly runs around behind 2 decoy runners. And Donnelly goes for the line. And McCallum's going to give a try.
Held up.
No, he's not. God, it was like an eternity out.
And I think Paul Osborne's come up with the big play there, Paul.
Yeah, and McCallum went to his in-goal judge then. He didn't really know. Donnelly decided to have a go at it himself. And a good run by Donnelly, all the same. And away he went. And Osborne, that's great defence by him. He has saved the try. Saved the try. 2 great tackles there. Laurie Daly ran down Graham Bradley, and then Paul Osborne's come up with a try saver. But it is a St George feed, and Mark Coyne playing at 5'8" now. Tries to beat Meninga on the outside. Can't do so.
Not held in the tackle. A chance to go on, but Croker wraps him up and bundles him into the ground. Walford a dummy half. Now Barnhill pops it back out for Coyne. Coyne taken by Meninga. Very close to the line, 2 metres out. Collins for Goldthorpe, and now for Goulet, a forward pass.
Yes, Goulet came through it, a lot of pace and power. McCallum has ruled the pass forward.
6-2 St George after 31. Stone working the scrum close to his own line. McCallum's in to Stone. What are you doing? Hang on a moment. Ask me to get out of the road, but don't push me out of the road. Boy. Sideline. Stephen?
Yeah, just getting back to that Graham Bradley break. That was a bad play from Jason Donnelly. Any one of 5 St George players could have scored on the open side of the ruck.
Daly. Oh, again Canberra pay the penalty for mistakes inside their own 20-metre zone. Saints with a chance. Donnelly. Very fast and obviously very strong. 5 metres out from the line. Goldthorpe shows it for Barnhill, finds Potter. Potter shut down, 10 metres out. Mackay goes back to a wide blind side. Tries to beat the compressed defence. Goulet away. Mackay makes a magnificent save. Now, I think he may have given this try. He's asking his touch judges. Yes. Well, talk about a committee meeting before tries are awarded these days. Brad Mackay has been awarded a try for St George.
Well, it's been a great individual effort by Mackay. And interesting to see the replay of this, because he has actually knocked the ball forward. He goes from dummy half. Nice short ball there onto Goulet. Now, a nice pass from Goulet. He knocks the ball forward, catches it, and goes over.
Sean Hoppy at fault there too. He came in when he didn't need to. Goulet was David Boyle's man. Sean Hoppy came in to help. That meant that there was an overlap on the outside. Now Mackay's done remarkably well. There's Goulet. Boyle. Now watch Hoppy come in. Doesn't get anybody. And that means, well, they had 2 players out there. Mackay's the man who scored the try.
Mackay, busy man tonight, tries to convert his own try, but it's wide. No goal, 10-2 in favour of the Dragons over the Raiders at Bruce Stadium.
Sideline comments, Steve Roach.
Yeah, surprise change, I think, for the St George side. Tony Smith has gone on for the St George try scorer, Brad Mackay.
Anyway, it's a very important 5 minutes now to take us to half-time. St George, they've got a good lead. They've got a penalty here.
Well, Pongier it is, number 12. It'll be called out.
But as we've said before, this is the danger time for teams. They start to lose a little bit of concentration. The fatigue starts to take hold. They've done well with 12 men. They've got to make sure that they keep their try line intact here. As again, Pongier just doing too much in the tackle up high. It's going to cost his team 20 to 30 metres here.
They're not copying anything, the refs, are they? You know, these sort of things would have been let go 5-10 years ago, but with the edict by the Rugby League, referees are pulling up anything they can find.
Tap to be taken by Collins.
Glad you retired, blocker.
Yeah, mate, I would have been in a bit of trouble early in the season, I think, Paddy.
Priddle. Goldthorpe got a mongrel of a pass, but he did well. Goulet straight up the centre. 35 metres out from the Canberra line. Goldthorpe again decides to switch the point of the attack. Back for Potter. Now Barnhill. Barnhill stands, offloads a pass. Walford had to go back to recover. And no gain in ground for St George. Still 35 away from the Canberra line. Barnhill tries to stride through. He does. The referee seemed to get in the road. Barnhill takes it within 8 metres of the line. Chance again for St George. Goldthorpe. Tierney's out wide. Gets the hands free. Back for Goldthorpe. Now it's Priddle. 5 gone. Collins for Goldthorpe. Goes for the drop goal. Looked as though it was okay, and the hand goes up, so a further point goes on that St George total. They lead by 11 points to 2 Goldthorpe it was. No pressure on him. The markers didn't come out after him. And a further point to St George.
Yeah, nice option there by Goldthorpe, the extra point. But come back to the big break by David Barnhill. He's really coming into the game now, Barnhill, having a very strong game. Very strong running player. On that occasion, one of the Canberra defenders was shepherded by the referee, and he really couldn't get to Barnhill.
He has been a fair bit more disciplined out there tonight too. He does give away some silly penalties, or we have seen him that in the past, and it has detracted from his performance. But out there, he's run the ball strongly. His defence, as always, has been very, very good. And that was a very good bust up the middle of the ruck there.
Tony Smith. You guys in your careers have played in teams where you've had a bloke sent off and you've had to play with 12 men for whatever period. In this case, it's going to be 60 minutes for St George. Just what are the disadvantages? Obviously, you've got one man less.
Here's another error here, another Canberra. Excuse me, Ray, we'll get back to that. But Laurie Daly's been called out here. Another penalty for the Saints. So Canberra's discipline is just out the window. You do tend to lift yourself. You know that you've all got to work that extra little bit harder to attain a victory, and you play a lot on pride and commitment. That
is the thing, Ray. You have to work harder. But one thing I can say is if there was one football team that I would not want to be playing with 12 men against, it is Canberra.
Now Tierney. 30 metres out. There's that compressed Canberra defence illustrated by that wide shot. They're covering only about 2/3 of the ground, if that. They're shoulder to shoulder in defence almost as Goldthorpe unloads. Priddle gets inside the 20-metre line, almost lost the ball. He does give the players a quick play, the ball behind him though. Coyne tries to run around them. Wrapped up by Croker on 5. 11-2. Very close to half-time. Again, Goldthorpe goes for the drop goal. And again, it looks okay. McCullum, he acknowledges. So Goldthorpe picks up another drop goal. And St George coming up towards half-time, leading by 12 points to 2. And these are good tactics by St George. Picking up the point when it's least expected, I suppose, by the opposition. Not getting out from marker. They're not putting any pressure on the kickers. And Goldthorpe has had a heap of time, and now out on the full from the restart, sees St George get another penalty. Well, Canberra's made some really hard to believe mistakes. They've been pushing passes around in their own half. They've paid the penalty for that. And now an elementary mistake from the restart. Sideline, Steve.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing I do like about this St George side. They're very well organised, very well coached. Each player knows what his job is, and they're doing it to the letter.
Half-time siren has sounded. Collins takes the tap. Goldthorpe puts it in the air. It's a high bomb. Belcher's got his eyes on it. Oh, that was great, but he's lost the ball coming down. Canberra have got to clean up. Oh, this is Stacks on the mill, close to their own line. A pressure situation. But referee McCullum says that's the end of the first half. Well, Belcher had that. He went high above the pack. And to me, he had it taken from him on the way down. 12-2, though, is the score. Saints leading Canberra, and played tremendously well with only the 12 men for 23 minutes. Andrew Walker was sent off for a high tackle. He was on his second warning. But nevertheless, this St George side, they've rallied together and they take a 10-point lead to the break. We'll be back with Peter Sterling and Paul Vaughton in just a moment. And says, yes, we're ready. Now we're ready. The Goldthorpe, young man who got a couple of drop goals late in the first half. He was the number 7 that kicked off, and of course he was the man that weighted that kick beautifully across the ground for the Rick Walford try. Steve Roach, what's happened in the sheds?
Well, can you imagine in the Canberra Raiders room, not very happy. Too many mistakes when they've got the ball, too early in the tackle count. And what Tim Sheens is saying is the game starts all over again. Don't think about the first half, get on with the second half. In the St George room, they're very happy with their fast-moving defence, and they're cutting and taking yards off Canberra when they have got the football. They've got to keep making yards in the middle of the ruck, and there's still 40 minutes to go.
Daly covering up a mistake by Canberra. Didn't help them, though, for this clearing kick, which comes into the possession of St George's Michael Potter, right on the halfway line. Now, that's good field position for St George. On the first tackle, they're already 8 metres into their opponent's area. Donnelly hammered in defence. Walford, Goldthorpe, Goulet runs inside. Tim Sheens, Canberra coach, rightfully concerned. It's all very well to say it's early days, but every match in the Winfield Cup is vital. Trying to make that semi-final in August and hopefully the top 3. Potter thought that he could probably put the foot down and make the gap. Goldthorpe on 5. That came off a Canberra player, back into the hands of Bradley. Bradley away. They dive for the line. McCallum. This time, let's watch him. He's given the try. Tony Smith is the try scorer in jumper number 41.
Oh, St George. Still a long way to go, but that could wrap the game up. Goldthorpe, nice fortuitous kick there, actually. Onto Bradley. He beat a tackle. And then the outside ball, Smith had to stretch those arms of his, but got over the line.
And fortune favours the brave. The kick again from Goldthorpe. It's amazing how many tries are scored in a rugby league game from the boot. And then it was just simple passes. Smith did well there, a little bit of a juggling act, but got it down. They had the players in the right place at the right time.
So Ricky Walford's got the job now from the sideline. No goal. No goal for Walford, no addition to the scoreline. But St George, they'd be very happy with that. 16-2, 3rd minute of the second half gone.
Now, Canberra, they've got to come up with plenty of those plays now. They're a long way behind on the scoreboard, but they do have the play.
Peter,
big
what a tackle.
Hit Neil Tierney.
Oh, Pongy bounced up, he's all right. Now Fritz. Sorry, Pete, that was a ripper. Have a look at this.
Oh, it's a great shot. Great tackle.
Shades of yourself there, Fats.
Not getting hit.
Belcher. Stone comes on the scene a fraction late. 22 metres out. The Greens are starting to come back. Daly, Meninga, the winger's got in front of him. Now Meninga plays it. Daly goes to the air. Last tackle coming up. Down off Daly, back to Belcher now for Daly, and now he's ordered the turnover. Didn't come in contact with St George.
Canberra starting to look a lot better with the football, but very basic play. You talked about the winger getting in front of Mal Meninga there. That very basic play. The winger knows he's the last man of the attack. He's got to stand 5-10 metres behind his outside centre so he can run onto that football. On that occasion, he overran it by 5 metres. No chance to do anything there.
Well, there was Meninga, as the replay showed. He wanted to give it, but Brett Mullins, and, you know, we've given him plenty of raps, so I suppose he's got to take the criticism with it. He's got a job of staying 2 or 3 metres behind the ball carriers. No good being in front of him. Tierney.
He's had a big game, Tierney. He's 11 tackles and 9 hit-ups. He leads the hit-ups for the St George side, along with David Barnhill. This man now has also had a big game.
David Barnhill. Goldthorpe scurries across to the fringe of the compressed defence. Picks up Coyne, who makes the halfway line. 5 gone now for the red and whites. The Penfolds boys. Oh, gee, they've had a long association with Penfolds, haven't they? Meninga rakes it in now. He starts to wind up those big legs. Sean Hoppy.
Well, he hasn't moved in the back. Mal Meninga, you see a prone body laying flat as Canberra go wide.
I think it's Belcher.
It is Belcher.
Canberra now. They turn it on. Mullins, the villain a few moments ago. Can he be the hero? Yes, he will be. 5 to go. He's home. Try for Canberra. Look at the crowd. They love the boys here.
And that's one of the best tries you'll see. What a game this is developing into. Brett Mullins did this all on his Pat Malone. We just gave him a little bait, but here he goes now. This is sensational play by him. There's not much doing here. Gets into the open. Walford had come in on that man there. That made the left side touchline open for him, and away he went. He beat Potter on the inside. Walford came again, but Mullins beat him. A nice fend. They still came at him. Potter's had another go at him, and he can't make it. And Bradley too late.
Well, at half-time we saw that St George had committed 3 missed tackles. I reckon we've seen 6 in one movement here. Great work from Mullins. Potter's got the best shot at him at the end there and just gets shrugged off. A couple of the St George players got in each other's road, but Potter had a couple of attempts. Bradley late in coming across. Gee, that's a game breaker, that one. That gets them back into it.
Well, Walford and Potter, they've had 2 shots each. But Brett Mullins able to beat them both. And beat them twice. Well, what a try. Great individual effort. David Furner from this acute angle. 24 metres out. Just in from touch. Still a hell of a lot of work to be done for them. 16-6 down. That kick looks good. It's long enough, it's high enough, and straight between the uprights. 16 to 8 is the score in favour of St George.
Frank Hyde's back.
Saints 16, Canberra 8, Friday night football. It's come alive here. This big crowd, the cheer girls, right behind the Greens. The Green machine are coming back.
When you come back to the goal kicking tonight, St George 1 from 5 after Walker had been sent off. He was their main goal kicker. Canberra 2 from 3.
Gary Belcher.
I mean, the Saints get a couple of those kicks, it's all over, isn't it?
You also come back to the field goals kicked by Noel Goldthorpe. 2 of those, if they hadn't have kicked those, Canberra within a converted try.
Fritz been on there about 5 minutes now. He came on in the Tui's challenge against
the same team.
Was it, or was it Newcastle? I'm not sure. Now they've coughed up a mistake, but the point I was going to make, when they did bring him on as a shock weapon, he really opened the opponents up.
A mistake made by Canberra once again. I'm sure that Challenge Cup game was against St George. We saw a couple of tries scored late in the game. They're looking to do the same thing here. This time Goldthorpe picks up, goes the blind side. Wrapped up by Ponga.
Caught. Just inside that 20-metre line. Potter, Goldthorpe, Goulet, I thought was running a decoy to the inside, but in fact, the ball carrier he was. Bragg Mackay getting ready to come back. Barnhill bustles and makes it down to the 10 metres. Collins a dummy half, Goldthorpe with it. Tierney runs inside, they come outside. Big Bradley gets a pass away. Did they get it down? That's the question. And he's given the try for Donnelly. So St George striking straight back.
Oh, once again it came from the Canberra mistake. Beautiful play here once again from Goldthorpe. He's had a big game. The inside decoy drew a couple. A bad, simple missed tackle there by Stone it was, and Donnelly in the corner.
20 points to 8 in favour of the Dragons.
Sorry, it was actually David Boyle that missed a tackle in those green cycle shorts. And once again, the winger had gone in and didn't have to on his man.
Donnelly the try scorer. And again worried faces behind the Canberra line. Daly doing most of the talking. Not impressed. Why would he be? This is their 4th for the night. Just a metre in from touch, just wide. No goal for Noel Goldthorpe, and no further points St George.
And some brittle work here. St George go wide, and we freeze it there. We've seen that David Boyle has come in. He's actually had to turn and come back out again, which means that the player has got outside him. Hoppy's again inside behind his man as play continues. They're caught out of position. Boyle gets shrugged off, but they'd come in. That allowed St George to get outside them. And once you do that in the game of rugby league and you've got some speed, you're home. As Goulet, well, he picks up Bradley once again. St George, they've got the momentum. They're on a roll.
Sideline, Steve.
Yeah, a change in the Canberra Raiders side. John Lomax has gone back on, and Quinton Pongier has come off.
Goldthorpe puts on a little sprint. Desperate tackle there to stop him from the number 9, Steve Walters. It's a horrible pass. It's gone behind Priddle and recovered by Coyne. Croker, the tackler. Walford.
Very short odds if St George can get to the other end of the field about another field goal.
Goldthorpe with a raking kick. He didn't have much room to work in, but Belcher is tackled midway between the 20-metre line and halfway. This is Hoppy.
I suppose one thing St George might have to worry about is the fatigue factor, which could come into the match sooner. Around now, though they've got a handy lead, they should all be fired up enough to overcome those sort of disabilities. But they're a bit lucky. They've got Jeff Hardy on the sideline. Still hasn't been used tonight, and he's a good fresh reserve to bring on.
Now Brett Mullins comes in and weaves his magic again, but this time shut down. Potter made sure of the first one that time. Stone away. Furner's out wide. He bursts into a hole. Takes it down to the 20. Throws the pass desperately. Potter cleans up for the Saints. Matthew Wood gets ready to come on for Canberra.
There was a great tackle there on Furner from behind by Scott Goulet, which put pressure on Furner then to pass the football.
Donnelly. Flung to the ground. Walford. St George. 20 points to 8 up. Goldthorpe. Smith. Taken on the boot by Sean Hoppy. And Jeff Hardy is finally going to come on for St George. And he'll play a very important role as the St George forwards start to get tired. Hardy will come on, and his job will be to make as many tackles as possible. Steve Roach.
Yeah, Hardy's coming on for the very good St George player tonight, David Barnhill. He's done a ton of work and deserves a rest.
Now Daly, out and away from dummy half. Tries to get away from Tierney, but can't. Arrested 25 metres out. Quick play the ball for Walters to give to Osborne. Meninga makes the knock on. Priddle does the clean up for St George. Coy. Steve Stone back on the bench now for Canberra. Walford. 20 points to 8. The Dragons in front of the Raiders. Been a good showing by St George, Peter.
It certainly has, Ray. They're going to go on and win this football game if they continue in this fashion. I know we've still got just under 20 minutes to go, but they've got a big lead, and I still think at 20 to 8, if they can get down the other end, Noel Goldthorpe will again look for the 1 point to put them 13th clear. That means that Canberra would have to score 3 times. I just don't know if they're playing well enough and organised enough out there to be able to do that.
Goldthorpe again to the fore with the kick.
Yeah, he had a big 60 minutes, David Barnhill. Just goes to show what an important cog Ricky Stewart is in the Canberra wheel. Not only for his kicking game, their kicking game hasn't been too bad tonight, Canberra's, but just for his organisation around those rucks and his long passes that he can throw. And they've really missed him.
Daly. Hoppy. It's interesting point you raise. I was talking to some Canberra Raider supporters earlier about their most valuable player. I mean, they've got Clydes, the Dalys, the Belchers, the Meningas and the Stewarts. And it's amazing the number of them that think that Ricky Stewart is their most valuable player.
Well, he's at the centre of everything, isn't he? He's going to handle the football probably more than any other player. There he is there. In bet your life he wishes he was out there. Just directing things. He's a traffic cop when he plays, and he tells the players where he needs them, where he wants them. And they have missed that tonight. That's Lomax going forward. They're just, well, great ball. Stu Boller's on the inside.
Over the halfway line, but the St George defence outnumbering Canberra's attack. Wood was able to get up alongside him, but it was too late, and now Daly. This is the last tackle. Daly tries to do it himself. Potter's there to try and clean it up. Daly comes fast, but Potter, I think he's forced it with downward pressure. McCallum asked the in-goal judge the question and indicates the line dropout.
I don't think Laurie Daly had any doubt it had been forced. It was more in hope than belief that he'd finally touched down. But if the team gets beaten today, it's not going to be any fault of Laurie Daly's. He's really worked very hard. He's tried to put something on himself. The first man there for his own kick. There's a line dropout, so the Raiders will get the ball back.
Actually, a couple of things Michael Potter's done tonight have been just not Michael Potter. Even forcing that ball in his own goal, he seemed to make it want to look flashier than it had to be. You know the point I'm making?
Yeah, tricky bounce for him though, Ray. I've got to give him the benefit of the doubt there. A couple of things he has done, though. He's taken the high ball well on a couple of occasions. Missed a couple of tackles, but he's been pretty good at the back there. Oh, nice pair of Reg Grundy's, Mel. The blue and white checks.
Daly, Boyle wrapped up in a conventional tackle by Tony Smith. Now Brad Mackay is about to come back into the game. Lomax takes it up to the 20-metre line. Walters out and away. The dummy for Matthew Wood tries to spin away from the tackle by Jeff Hardy. 5 tackles gone for Canberra. They're 15 metres out. If they're going to do something, now's as good a time as any to try it. Croker, he puts in a kick out wide, but it was an absolutely nothing kick. And Donnelly was able to take it in and shut it down for St George to repel whatever attack Canberra were mounting. That is a kick that was very much for himself, Peter Sterling.
Well, he was put in a position where he probably shouldn't have had to kick the football either, Ray. That just shows the disorganisation out there. It was the last tackle. Nobody was in good position to kick the football. He had to kick under a little bit of pressure, and the best that he could do was a vain attempt to try and pick up somebody out wide. He found Jason Donnelly.
Goldthorpe, Hardy. 5 gone. They come back for the blind. Collins gets his kick in. Hoppy goes back with Belcher. The latter takes it off his own 30-metre line. Then he's tackled by Mackay originally, who's gone back on. Mackay. Struggling run. Canberra a few times in this game, plenty of times, they haven't been able to shut the ball carrier down effectively and quickly. Crowd figures just handed to me, 16,814. And that would be pleasing to the Raiders and Rugby League, their opening night of the Winfield Cup for 1993. Nearly 17,000 people. Mackay. Increasingly, and Jason Croker getting some ice packs to try and stem the bleeding. It's a pretty bad cut, apparently, we're told from the sidelines, in the scalp. And this scrum is going to pack about 30 metres away from the Canberra line now.
And in this final 10 minutes, that's what we'll see from St George. They'll want to get into as many set play positions as possible. They'll kick for touch, they'll waste time. Everything is in their favour. The scoreboard, the clock. They don't want to play Canberra in broken play situations. Just wind everything down. Here's Laurie Daly making half a bust. Pulled up for Shepherd. And this is going to be a relatively easy kick, 25 metres out in front of the posts.
Nothing's going right for them, Paul.
And the big question here is, as we go to the replay, was a St George player impeded in defence?
Well, I think Bradley, for a start, was taken out by Boyle.
Yeah. So it's a perfectly legitimate penalty. And as Mackay resumes kicking duties, Canberra Raiders, hasn't been one of their better performances. They haven't stopped trying all night, but the way they've played the game has been very disappointing to their fans, and no doubt to Tim Sheens.
What was that statistic that you came up with earlier? They haven't beaten Canberra since 1985. They drew with them in 1986, but they beat them at Seaford Oval back in 1985. That was the last time. 50 points to 12, I think they told me to do it today. A team for St George that included Craig Young, Chris Walsh, Perry Haddock, Michael O'Connor, Michael Beattie. Been a long time between drinks, Sterlo.
There'll be plenty to drink tonight because they're going to break the drought. And this will be the final nail in the coffin if Mackay is able to put this over.
Mackay from right in front and hits the upright, bounces back into the field of play. I thought for a moment St George were going to capitalise right on it. But Canberra's with the ball. Daly ever alert. Malmaninga, one-handed pass for Belcher. Lomax. Feel a bit sorry for Malmaninga. Of course, he's out there playing his 400th first-class game, and nothing would be sweeter than for victory, obviously, but not always does the script go according to plan, Sterlo.
Well, Ray, 399 other ones have been fairly successful for him, so I guess he'll cop this one. They just haven't played well enough. Laurie Daly again, a dangerous ploy, this one, kicking to the open wing when you play a short defence. Walford, if you can get outside or inside Mullins, there's no one else at home.
30 metres away from the line. Minutes ticking away. We're well inside the last 10. And this victory, oh, that's good solid defence on Barnhill.
Twice a field goal on the end of this set.
Yes, you'd think they just work to the centre. That's what Collins doing. Good pass away to McVeigh. That even takes the position closer. Goldthorpe's gone to dummy half, so it doesn't look as though he'll be the man, but they decide to go wide. Potter to Goulet.
And the big man is tackled about 7 or 8 metres out from the line, able to pass. Potter supports. Play on, says the referee. Collins floats it out. Barnhill does likewise. Walford shoots for the corner. That's no try. This time we've got a touch judge quite deliberate and certain in his ruling. Corner post gone.
Yeah, Walford striding for the line there. A nice tackle. And, yeah, good decision there by the touch judge.
Line drop out. Taken by Laurie Daly. He went for the shallow one, but not that shallow. It's got to go 10 metres forward. It didn't do that, and St George get a penalty right in front of the uprights.
Well, drastic situations call for drastic measures. Daly looking to give the Canberra players some chance of getting the football back. There's under 3 minutes. This is going to extend the lead now of St George to 14 points.
And who's going to kick it? That's the big question.
Well, Michael Potter, is he number 5?
He's the skipper. He may as well have a shot.
It's like Goldthorpe. They like him close to the posts. Been an emphatic victory by St George, and it must be an enormous confidence builder to be able to beat the form team of the moment with the player short for an hour.
I can't quite believe we're talking about St George having a goal-kicking problem. But in effect, we are.
Well, they haven't got a problem, Ray. They've got plenty to choose from. They're just not putting them over.
St George with a goal-kicking problem.
This has been one of their greatest victories in the last decade, hasn't it? It's been a brilliant win by them under so much pressure against a great side.
Goldthorpe couldn't miss it, could he? No, he won't. Noel Goldthorpe caps a magnificent game for himself. Everything he's done has been spot on. 22 points to 8 in favour of the Dragons, right here in the heart of the national capital. They came and they conquered. The magnificent 12. They've done it for 60 minutes with no Andrew Walker. So it's going to be hard for Canberra fans to remotely offer an excuse. Mackay to play. Slowly up. Seems to be the plan. McCoy. Sunday we go to Newcastle for the big game up there. Newcastle versus Eastern Suburbs. You'll see the hour of edited highlights on Sunday night at 6:30, and then next Friday we come to you from Carlaw Park. Canterbury Bankstown versus Brisbane. Goldthorpe raking that ball over the sideline. This will be one of the last scrums of the game. Tim Sheens
Just
I'm sure
wondering
he'd be a very disappointed coach.
Just wondering if Sheens will look at his defensive line over the next week and maybe go back to the older style of man-on-man defence, because there have been some problems for them.
Well, we'll talk about that in a moment as the ball goes well deep over the St George three-quarters. I was reading in the papers today, though, Donnelly forces it in the in goal. The siren sounding in the background. But I was reading where they were totally happy with the way they had got their defensive pattern in order. That siren is not the loudest in the world, but it has sounded. And St George, 22 points to 8. More convincing wins you seldom see. The Dragons supporters have come down to the national capital for two big events this weekend, I guess, but this was their main event, and they take the prize home with them. Disappointing night for Mal Meninga, but he too would be the first to admit the better side has won on the night. 22 points to 8.
This is the tale of a legendary team